Welcome to the second episode of the Blue Collar Baddies podcast. This episode is sponsored by Blue Collar Grind, badass coffee for hardworking people. Today we're here with Jackie Sorensen, aka Jackie HVACie, president of Thorson Heating and Air Conditioning, service tech and installer for 16 plus years. In 2023, she took over the family business, third generation, over 80 years in business. First female graduate from Southeast Tech in 2010, and as far as we know, still the only female graduate. So how did you, obviously it's family owned, so that's how you got into your trade.
Kind of. I honestly did not plan on going into it. I started off going to college. I went to the local university. I was going to go for chemistry to go into firefighting.
Oh, wow.
But I hated college. I hated the university life, hated dorm life, all of it. Moved back home, and I just needed a job over the summer. And that's when I started working with my dad. I had before worked in the office, but he just started taking me out on jobs that summer, and I liked it and never looked back.
Dang, that's cool. Then you went to school for it, or you...
Yes, so I did go to school, later that summer, that fall. I registered at Southeast Tech, and I went to school there. Of course, only girl in my class and all that, so... I graduated from there in 2010, and I was the first female that they had complete the program there. And from what I understand, I'm still the only one. So,
Dang. So if somebody was straight out of high school trying to start in that right now, what advice would you give them?
Just go do it. Go start applying places. Try to get even just a ride along or internship, apprenticeship, whatever you can to just get your foot in the door.
Yeah. So would you recommend that they start out looking for a job, or they just go to school and see if they even can?
You could also just go to school as well, because a lot of the tech programs, the one I went to is a 2-year program, and even since then they've done a hybrid program. Now it's only a year.
Okay.
So it used to be residential heating and air conditioning, and then commercial HVACie was the second year of it. And now they just a hybrid program of residential and light commercial.
Okay.
And actually when you go into school for, any of those technical careers, those programs have really great job placement. So they'll have job binders and stuff in the classrooms that companies always have job postings there. So they're always hiring for anyone that's even just starting out. So you'll have a job all through school too.
Nice.
So yeah, I definitely recommend getting a job while you're going to school, because that's also just going to help you grasp the content better, understand it. It's also just going to make you excel quicker in the class. A lot of times it makes you look better than the guys, just all the fun things.
Plus, I'm sure you learn things on the job that you don't learn in school.
Yeah. And that's probably one of my favorite stories, too, is when I started off tech school. I was the only girl in the class, so I sat up front in the corner by myself. Nobody really talked to me. Nobody wanted to be my lab partner. And then the first week of school is 2 or 3 days in, we took an assessment test. And this instructor's like, don't worry about it. Everybody's going to fail it. We just want to see where you're at. And he went around one by one, picking up everybody's tests, and I was the last one that he came to, and everybody got 20%, that's kind of the average, and I had a 40% or something like that, and they were like, wow, so everybody wanted to be my partner after that.
That's funny. What's been the biggest struggle you faced so far being a woman in the industry? The day that almost made you quit?
I would say my biggest struggle that I have encountered was probably my pregnancy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, getting pregnant in the trades is rough because it's male-dominated industry.
Right.
And even then I thought I was going to have it good because I worked at a family company and everything's, so family-oriented, right? It's not always that way. I still struggle to get maternity leave even from my own dad. So that was one of the things that was a really big game changer for me after having my son. They say that kids change your life, and it's for all the obvious reasons, that your life revolves around them. But just even more so because it makes you want more out of life and want more for yourself.
Makes sense.
And so, I really wanted to get buy-in from my dad, and he'd always promised it to me. But at that time, he was like, I think I changed my mind. I don't think you're ready, whatever. It's 15 years in, if I'm not ready now, then that's your fault. Yeah. So, no, I finally had to give him the ultimatum that I was going to leave and go start my own company.
Wow.
If he didn't let me buy into it.
Yeah.
So he let me buy into it, now I own it.
Nice.
So.
Good. That's awesome. Oh, we almost expect rude or degrading comments from men on the job site, but have you experienced any like rough situations with women?
I think I actually get more from women than I do from guys.
Really?
I'm very fortunate in a sense that I don't work a lot on like construction sites with a lot of guys. We do primarily residential, light commercial, and even then we don't do a terrible lot of new construction. So I'd be out on construction sites every now and again, but a lot of what I would do is like service repair work or replacement installations, or we're like changing out a system that's bad. So I feel like I was kind of sheltered for a lot of my career because it was just me and my dad that worked there. And so I didn't really have that exposure to working with other crews and other guys. What I saw was mostly doubt from other women, for sure.
Like outside of the trades? Or just...
Yeah, it was my customers.
Yeah.
Like I would pull up to somebody's house and it would be like an elderly woman. I mean, I hate to knock it, but it is usually the older generation.
Right.
And I think a lot of that is because they were told themselves that they can't do that.
Right.
So then they question you of like, what are you doing this? Are you sure you know what you're doing?
Yeah.
It's like, yes, I do. And, and then once you show them, you do the work, everything, then they're like, you're their favorite person. And
right.
Yep, now you're their go-to.
Yeah,
because I run into that now a lot where I am actually requested on jobs now because it is a lot of times women who are home during the day and they don't want a man coming into their house.
A little bit safer, just
Yep, or even a lot of times like women who are victims of sexual assault, something like that, where they just, it's a boundary for them. So.
For sure, yeah.
Kind of a niche thing that we have in the industry now.
It's good to have an option of, Is there anything you feel like you're missing out on by having a not typical job?
Not really. Like, I guess getting to dress up for work and wear cute clothes. Like, in high school, I used to always dress up. I used to wear high heels in high school. I used to be a cheerleader.
Yeah.
All the things, but no, I don't miss it. It's actually like relieving to just wear a uniform.
You don't have to be.
Yeah. I've heard before that some of the most successful people or smartest people, however you want to say it, like they just wear a uniform or wear the same thing every day because it's like just gets rid of the hardest decision, the first decision you make out of the day. So
makes sense, yeah. If you were to explore another trade or you couldn't do what you're doing right now, what would you do?
Probably something similar.
Yeah.
I've thought about doing like rental properties, or I could like do my own maintenance, a lot of my own maintenance stuff, or flipping houses, or something, because I just like to have my hands all over everything and always be into something different. I think that's one thing I love about being business owner now versus just technician, is because I get to be creative and work on so many different things.
Right.
And every day is different. And I think that's one thing I love about the trade, is that even in service, like every service call is different, every customer is different, you're always going to different places and everything, nothing is ever the same.
Yeah.
Even if you're back-to-back working on two identical units, they're not going to be the same problem, and they're not the same size, and they're in different houses, and
always something new to figure out.
Yep, it is.
That's cool. Are there any embarrassing stories you want to share?
Oh my gosh. Going back to pregnancy. Oh, terrible. I had just pulled up in this lady's driveway. It was a main thoroughfare, so there was no off-street parking, but I pulled up in her driveway and right then sneezed and I peed my pants.
Oh no.
And I couldn't leave. I was already there. Right. So I just had to tie a hoodie around my waist and weather the storm. But I think that was that was a rough day for me.
Yeah. Plus, how long did you have to work like that before you could get back to...
Right.
Gosh.
Yeah. No, it was over on my side of town where I live. So I think after that service call, I just beat feet at home and changed clothes and then went back. And,
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you work out, or is the job the workout?
I always say that the job is the workout.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the silver linings of this line of employment, is that it is so physical that I think it just keeps you in shape. Yeah. It's like a lifestyle.
Right.
I do tease that now that I'm more in the office, I probably am going to start working out. I feel it. I notice the difference. I'm not as strong as I used to be, and it's kind of sad. Yeah.
Yeah. What's your absolute favorite thing about your job?
Probably just that there's so much diversity into it. You're always working on different equipment. I like being social, so I like to get to know customers and get to know the people. You know, I would tease at some of my customers that I do maintenance at their house regularly. Yeah, I would see them more than some of my family members.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's cool. What's the one tool you couldn't live without? Like, it doesn't have to be specific to your trade, just something you're always using.
I hate to admit it, but probably my cell phone.
Oh.
And even like as a work tool though too,
Right,
because
yeah.
I use it as a calculator and a flashlight,
Yeah.
and I use my camera to like scope in and look places.
I didn't think about that being a tool, but it definitely is.
It is, yeah. And I also don't admit how much I Google stuff.
Right, yeah.
You know, my dad teases me that like, you have it so good. Because back in my day,
Right.
if we couldn't figure it out, we'd have to go suck it up and go ask the customer if we could use their phone and call back to the office. And
Oh,
it's like,
gosh.
that does sound like a nightmare. No, I sit there in front of the furnace and Google it quick.
Right.
Yeah.
That's funny. What did you think you were going to be growing up? Like, when you were little?
I don't know. I don't know if I really had any like big aspirations. Like through high school, I was part of the Explorers program for the fire department. So I had a pretty good investment into being a firefighter and going into that.
That'd be cool.
Yep. I think that's what I had always dreamed of. My mom was a volunteer firefighter, and then my dad also joined the volunteer fire department. So both my parents were volunteer firefighters, and it just like, you know, felt like my destiny, I guess, to fulfill that. And but like then it just turned out college was not for me. And the nearest college for a firefighting degree was in like Wyoming. I was also very homesick. I didn't even like moving an hour away for college. So yeah, I lasted like a semester and then moved back.
I mean, it worked out for the better, though.
Yeah. I mean, technically, I dropped out of college 2 times because I moved back and then I went to what's called a university center. So it's like you can not have to live on campus, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of like a tech school, but they have university classes there.
Right.
So I quit the university, moved back into the university center so I could transfer my credits there. And then I dropped out of that one too.
Yeah.
So, and then I went to Southeast Tech.
It worked.
Yeah, and it's actually really great because like the tech schools have really good scholarship programs too.
Right.
You can apply for scholarships. They'll help you out with a lot of your tuition.
Yeah.
And even like our area, even outside of the tech schools, there's like Dakota Build Scholarship, and they'll give you full ride.
Well, I feel like with tech school, there's a lot less bullshit. Like, you learn what you're there to learn instead of all these other classes you don't need.
Yeah. And it's, you know, diversity thing too,
Right,
especially for scholarships when you write in being a woman in a male-dominated trade.
Oh, yeah.
I hate to say, but it gives you a really good foot in the door.
I didn't think about that,
Yeah. I got a lot of the scholarships that I applied for, and then my classmates were like, oh, what'd you get for a scholarship? What'd you get? Oh my gosh, Eric got the highest scholarship. Oh, he got $250. And I was like, oh, I got a $500 one. What? What? And they were all mad because I got the highest scholarship.
That's funny.
I felt good.
Yeah.
It's only because you're a girl. I'm like, oh, probably, but
Oh, well.
Sucks to be a boy, I guess.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Do you have any big goals coming up in your trade?
I always have big goals.
Yeah.
I mean, right now I'm just working on trying to hire and onboard more people. I always want to hire on more female technicians.
Right.
You know, in business, we have our revenue goals and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Like, more personally, though, or more to feel my personal fulfillment, I suppose. I've been trying to do more with, like, the Women in Construction Association that I'm involved with.
Right.
And then also Women in HVACie, just getting involved with more committees, trying to be in mentorship programs, trying to get more women into the trades. Because I always say, like, especially with HVAC, it's not so physically demanding. It's more of a technical mind, being able to diagnose issues with a unit, changing a part.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it's that hard, but it's so easy. A girl could do it. But really, like, it's even installs and stuff, they can be more physically demanding when you have to haul equipment in and up and down stairs. But a lot of times we don't expect guys to do that by themselves either.
Right,
You know, they get a hand to lift the stuff. So, yeah, not that big of a deal.
Makes sense. Well, how did you get involved into what's it called?
Women in Construction,
Yeah.
UNAWIC. I had been referred. There was another gal that was involved at my local distributor or wholesaler that she had referred me to it. And it's a very, like, open group, I guess. Like if you have any involvement in the construction industry, you can apply and they'll grant you in more or less. They'll find a reason to get you in. So, you know, if there's any affiliation with like, you know, if you finance for construction jobs, you could be in it. But a lot of it is like support staff, marketing, that sort of thing. But I'm actually part of a new tradeswoman committee. So with Rebecca, I am a co-chair now of the Midwest Regional Tradeswoman Committee too. So
Nice.
trying to do what I can do to give back and get more women into it.
Just letting people know that they can.
Yep. Yeah, and just getting that exposure. Another great thing I love that NotWic does is every year the Sioux Falls chapter puts on this Pizza Pop and Power Tools event for 8th grade girls. So they bus in all these girls from the school district and just let them, you know, it'll be different stuff. Like one will be laying tile, one will be like screwing some boards together and but it's so funny to see some of these girls that are like, oh, I don't want to do that. No, I'm not going to go into construction. I already know that I want to be a doctor someday. No, I'm going to be a surgeon, you know. It's like, oh, what kind? You know, oh, I want to be an orthopedic surgeon. I was like, girl, you're going to have to use drills and saws too, so you might as well figure it out now.
Right?
Like, they're all the same tools. So, you know, you don't realize the kind of, like, how things cross in industries too, even over to medical and that sort of thing. So, yep, just getting that exposure.
That's awesome. And then the other one was the HVAC.
Women in HVACR.
Yeah. So how did you get into that one? Same way.
That's a great question. I think I had sought that one out. I think I was in like a Facebook group that I found. It started as I just joined a Facebook group that was Women in HVACR. And then I realized it was a whole organization. And that they had chapters everywhere. So unfortunately, they don't have a chapter like local to my region. I think the closest one that I could go to would be probably in Minnesota. But they do have regional events and national events, and I love going to their national conference every year. That's been a huge, I don't want to say like groundbreaker for me, I guess, is just getting to know other people in the industry. I'm not gonna lie, even being a technician, it's just something you have to get over to, that no matter what room you walk into, you're always going to be a 1%er everywhere you go. Because even when you go to like, you know, women in construction conferences, a lot of it is like support staff or office staff, marketing, blah, blah, blah. Even the technical ones that are doing the hands-on stuff are still a 1% in that room too. And when I go to the Women in HVACR conference, it's the same way. The actual technicians are still a dime a dozen. So.
So it seems like there's not a lot of, you know, PPE or jeans or boots that are made for what we do. So do you have any brands you want to shout out or that work for you? Like anything that you found that you're like, I'm not buying nothing else after that?
I used to wear Dickies for years. Just the cargo pants because they were like my ride or die. They always held up really nice. The only downfall is they didn't really have any stretch. When I got pregnant, I gave them up and I haven't gone back.
Really?
Now I just buy cheap jeans and I replace them more often. Instead of buying the really expensive work pants, I just buy buy jeans that I feel good in.
Right.
I used to feel like I had to wear cargo pants to be taken seriously at work.
Right.
I just feel like I've maybe come far enough, or I've gotten to a point where I don't care what people think, or I mean, I think there is a certain point in your career where you probably have to abide by that, you know, stereotype and stuff like that. But I think some of my favorite reviews that I got, like, was one on Google. I remember that somebody was like, it was so nice to have a woman come to my house, but it was also not just that she's a woman, but that she's actually feminine too. Right. And it was like, okay, because cool. I think there is a stereotype that to be in the trades or be in any construction job that you have to be, you know, very tomboy or you know,
no makeup, no nails.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you can still do your job and not. Anything that you're struggling, like, to find, like, I mean, any PPE or anything that you just don't have access to because they don't make it for women?
Maternity wear is really tough.
Yeah.
I think that's what got me off of Dickies and then I never went back, is because when I got pregnant, clothes were so hard to find. And even maternity clothes suck.
Yeah.
They don't stay up. You're constantly like, doing the wiggle to pull your pants up and stuff. So, yeah. Work clothes suck.
Yeah, for sure.
Touchy subject, yeah.
Yeah.
I heard Rebecca had done a PPE or workwear clothing fashion show through her local chapter up here. And I thought that was a great idea.
Yeah.
I wish I had come to that, but
Sounds
I think
like it,
more people should do that.
for sure, yeah. Sounds like it turned out good, but
Yeah.
And do you want to shout out your social media?
Oh, yeah, you can follow me on all the major social medias. I'm at Jackie HVACie, or also my business is Thorson Heating and Air Conditioning. Or just
Nice.
Thorson Heating is the handle. So
And your business is located in the
in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. So
Okay.
yeah. Yep. And we do primarily residential, light commercial
yeah.
service install. So
Nice.
well, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. I had
Thank
a great
you for
time.
being here. I'm glad you came.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed it, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss the next one. All the links and products we mentioned today will be listed in the description. If you're a woman in a blue-collar industry and you're interested in being the focus of the next episode, or you're a small business that would like to sponsor an episode, reach out to us in the link below.